What's up, family? Welcome to One Fourth Careers Podcast. I'm Xavier, the creator and host, and I'm going to answer 6 questions during this episode. What's this pod all about? Who am I? Who's the target audience? What kind of guests am I going to bring you? What role do you play in OFC? And what's the vision? To start, what's this pod all about? The purpose of One Fourth Careers Podcast is simple: provide information about various career paths, ranging from STEM, education, HR, business and finance, trade schools and disciplines like mechanics and being an electrician, and so much more. Secondly, One Fourth Careers Podcast wants you, as the viewer and listener, to walk away with actionable steps that you can repeat to achieve your professional goals. So, who am I? Most importantly, I'm a man of God and faith. I'm a husband to my beautiful wife, a father to my beautiful almost 9-month-old daughter, an older brother, a son, so much more. Really passionate about being a connector and just serving others. I grew up a military kid. My roots are in Mississippi, moved around a bunch, and ultimately landed at Alabama A&M University, a historically Black college university, where I earned my bachelor's as a mechanical engineer. I pledged Alpha, was a part of so many other organizations, really passionate about service and just being around people interested in growth and success. In undergrad, I interned a lot of places, traveled the country working for different companies and different industries. And this was all within engineering primarily. But ultimately, I entered into the management consulting world. So now I'm a strategy consultant. And that's really all to say I've been on this big search since I entered undergrad of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. So I'm not 30 yet. So still in my 20s, late 20s. And it's been quite the ride of trying to figure out my purpose, my passion, my interests. And it's not easy. And I really thought about it. And I think a lot of people have to kind of figure it out for themselves. It's almost like a rite of passage that we have in our society of, no one really has the answer for you. And I think we've tried to give certain inclinations of, well, if you're good at math, then go this route. If you're good at this, or if you're interested in that, go along that journey. And I think what's embedded in that push and influence is we all have to figure it out. And when you make a decision to go into a certain field, it doesn't mean you'll be there tomorrow, but it's just to say professional satisfaction is really important. And you are on your own journey to find where you may end up at. And that really ties to why One Fourth Careers Podcast is named as such. I feel that at least 1/4 of our overall happiness is influenced and tied to our satisfaction at work and in the workforce. Sign me up. I'm one of those where I rather just not work. Let me just hit the lottery. I'm gonna be real with you. But nonetheless, you're still impacted by where you spend a lot of your time. In our society, you gotta work, gotta make money. So we all have to work to some extent. And I want this podcast to be a resource so you don't feel alone as you're trying to figure it all out. I want you to go somewhere where you see people who look like you, who you see yourself in, and you can take actionable steps away and say, I don't know where I'm going to end up, but let me commit to this journey for right now. And here are some ideas of how I can get there and progress along my journey. So, who's the target audience? Well, content from One Fourth Careers Podcast is open and accessible to all. Everyone is welcome. I'd be remiss not to share that content produced by One Fourth Careers Podcast is intended primarily to reflect those part of the underrepresented and underserved communities. So you will see guests from low income backgrounds, guests who are racially and ethnically diverse, guests who have disabilities, seen and unseen, as well as guests from the LGBTQIA plus communities and so many other groups. So my hope for you is that you see yourself in the guests on One Fourth Careers Podcast. Let's continue that thread about backgrounds of guests that you'll see here. In addition to the various backgrounds I just mentioned, you'll also have guests from a broad range of ages. The primary focus of One Fourth Careers podcast as of right now are early career professionals with 2 to 7 years of experience in their current role, industry, or company. I also run an executive series where you'll be able to see executives from companies and industries as well. And I even have some videos with students who are currently in graduate school. Think business school, think law school, so on and so forth. Really wanting to cover not only a broad range of career paths, we want to cover a broad range of guests that we bring to you, your loved ones, your students, whoever this podcast is reaching. So, again, I hope that everyone who's watching and listening will be able to find themselves in these individuals and also get some of the fresh nuggets and gems that maybe some early career professionals are gaining and experiencing right now, a little bit more recently, and also wanting to have that sweet spot of guests who are able to connect with some of our younger audience, as well as being experienced enough to speak to some experiences that other working age professionals are looking for. And then we have executives to always have that presence of showing what is possible and how far you can go. Now, let's talk about the vision for the podcast. The vision is very simple: to put as much content as possible in front of as many people as possible. Our primary channel is YouTube, and you can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, and Amazon Music. So maybe like some other podcasters say, wherever you get your podcasts, but definitely check us out on YouTube as well. Something else that's really helpful on YouTube, when you go to our primary page, you'll be able to see all of our episodes grouped into a playlist. So this was done specifically so you're able to get in and get out, get what you need, stay as long as you want, by all means. We want individuals to be able to find exactly what they're looking for. If you're interested in STEM, you can look at all the STEM videos and read the titles and see what you're interested in. See a face that you want to learn more about and kind of get behind that thumbnail. You're interested in consulting, you'll see a playlist there. LGBTQIA plus, we also have identity grouping. We also have executive series. The list is ever growing as I'm committed to getting as much diverse experiences as possible. And lastly, a huge important part of the vision for One Fourth Careers podcast is to get this content in spaces where our young people reside most and spend their time: in schools, ranging from elementary all the way through college, with explicit free content; youth organizations, thinking boys and girls clubs, after school programs, any of that. I just want students to have awareness. I want information to be accessible to them. I want them to see people who aren't far off from their age and also see some of that amazing wisdom that's not only shared by early career professionals, but also individuals who have reached that executive level, who may be exiting the workforce over the next couple decades or so. Now, the most important question to answer: what role do you play in OFC? Please engage, like, comment, subscribe, and share the content that you see with others in your circle. Thank you for watching all the way through, and I look forward to being able to serve you and others in your network. Stay happy, stay blessed.